Just cold cock it. Just go right into
Yep.
it.
Yep. We're going right in. So, what is up, everyone? We are live on the For the Homies channel, which obviously, if you cannot see, we don't have a Phantom X here, or a Crease, or Ebola, or anyone else. It's just
Yep.
me and Ronin. We took over the show. We're done.
Yes, we did. We done diddly
we
took the show over.
We took over the show. Yep, and it's gonna be
Under new management.
fun. Yeah, we're under new management. Yeah, no.
Oh, I know. I'm getting fired tomorrow.
Yep, we're both in trouble. No, so we're gonna have fun. And right now, how are you doing, Ronin?
Oh, I'm doing pretty good. I just finished up on my own stream on my own channel. I was playing through Claire Obscure Expedition 33. But I did had some glitches. I have to admit, my first part of the stream just nuked itself because I wanted to add a poll. All for a poll, dude. I'll figure
How
it
dare
out.
those polls?
I'll figure it out. Oh God. How about you, AP? How are you doing yourself?
I'm I'm doing good, man. It's gonna be a fun time where we're gonna be talking about a topic.
Yes.
I can't
Yes.
say we're both passionate about the current main subject.
No, we're passionate about the franchise, but not the
Yes.
subject in regards to the franchise. That much
So
is
yeah,
an absolute.
it's gonna be fun.
Mm-hmm.
All right, so do you want to just begin? How did you get into Fallout? Like, what was your introduction, and what do you like about it?
Okay, so for me, I think it was around maybe 2007, 2008. It was when the trailer for Fallout 3 first dropped, and it was that first ever trailer where you see the little light bulb slowly flickering, camera starts panning out, you hear the
Yep.
radio playing. I don't want to set the world on fire by the ink
The
spots.
iconic freaking trailer.
As it backs out, you're seeing, a destroyed city. You see, and it's Washington, D.C., because you see the Washington Monument. Camera backs out even further to set up the establishing shot. That's when you see a Brotherhood of Steel knight or paladin, whatever it is, because he's wearing the full suit, including the helmet, so it's not a person that you see, but he's kind of just staring out into the waste, looks towards the camera, and then what else do you hear? Ron Perlman's voice, war.
Yep.
War never changes. And then you see Fallout 3, and I immediately was hooked. And then once the game finally released, I begged my dad to buy it for me because again, I was kind of young at the time. I was maybe 12 years old when the game came out. And
Fallout 3 came out in 2008, right?
2008, yes.
2008 and New Vegas 2010. So
yes, 2 years apart from each other.
Yep.
But I think I probably put somewhere upwards to 200, 300 hours on Fallout 3. And then when New Vegas came out, it was so many more hours. And after playing those two games, that's when I finally decided, you know what? I want to set up a Steam account and see if I can get Fallout 1 and 2. And around 2014 was when I finally got a chance to get my own laptop and play the first two Fallout games.
Oh, dude.
And I got to tell you, oh, man. I've been in love ever since.
Interplay, dude. Absolutely. Interplay is just, they're amazing.
Yes.
I will say I had a very similar interaction with Fallout. Like I mainly since it came out in 2008, I was 6 years old, so I was a bit young. Right. So I watched the first time I saw Fallout was I watched my dad playing Fallout 3, and I remember the opening, the intro where you see Liam Neeson's character,
right,
talking. And I didn't know that was Liam Neeson I didn't know that was Liam Neeson for the longest time until rude is she? No, I didn't know that was Liam Neeson until like maybe like 4 or 5 years ago, and I was like, well, that's awesome. But of course, you mentioned Ron Perlman, dude. Ron Perlman might be a lunatic to say the least, but
yeah.
He's got that gravelly freaking tone that just made the trailer so much better.
Which, crazy enough, like he didn't even go that gravelly for the intro in the third game. You want to talk about the most gravelly voice that he had when it comes to the intros on the Fallout games? 2. You look at Fallout 2, it felt like he was giving this kind of like guttural, not guttural, but like sort of a low, almost like sinister kind of description of what's happened to the world and everything.
Yeah, exactly. And it was generally just really I mean, he sold it. Like his voice, like how he delivered the lines, he really made the atmosphere feel a lot more alive.
Right.
And of course, like he's been, I don't think he has not come back for Fallout 4 and 76.
No. Well,
He's
no. Yes and no. So let me explain. With Fallout 4, at least, he didn't do the intro, but instead it was the voice actor for Nate that
it
did
was
the
Nate. It was Nate
intro
who,
for Fallout 4. But as like a nice little nod, he did do voiceover work as a newscaster. It was before the
you're
bombs
right.
fell.
Yeah, it
And it
was
was
the
on the day.
pre-war. Yep.
Yes, in the pre-war part in the game.
Yeah.
When just before the bombs fell, he was doing the news coverage talking about how there's riots going on in the city, and then he starts doing the reports about how there's bombs dropping all over America, and that was about the
Confirmed
last bit.
detonations in Pennsylvania, New York.
Yes, that's what it was that he said.
Yep. Which, again, like just how many iconic like popular like actors are in the Fallout IP, and it's just so crazy.
Right.
Like the fact that Liam Neeson is a gamer, like a gamer, he loves the Fallout IP. It's just awesome.
He was in it for Fallout 3, and hell, as early as the first 2 games as well. You had Tony Shalhoub do the voice for Aradesh.
Can we ban Phantom?
I say we ban Phantom. Yeah, let's get
ban
him
Phantom off his channel.
This is going to be the mutiny here. This is where it starts. Now the For the Homies will have the rebellion. But you had Tony Shalhoub do the voice of Aradesh, and then you had Cree Summer, who's well known as Number 5 and various other characters in cartoons, do the voice of Tandy. You had Tony, what was his name? Tony J, I believe was his name. Do one of the voices for the mutants, and you can tell like when his Lieutenant was the mutant's name. That's what it was, and it was such an iconic voice hearing that.
The guy who played Marcus.
Yes, Michael Dorn.
Yes, Michael Dorn.
That's it. He was well known for I forgot what the character's name is, but I know he was in Star Trek: The Next Generation as well. That's one thing that a lot of people know him for. I know him mainly because of him doing the voice of Marcus, as well as doing the voice of Weasel from I Am Weasel it's a Cartoon Network show from like the late 90s and fuck you Ebola and early 2000s. But yeah, plenty of famous actors. Can you put the owner of the channel? It's timeout. That'd be wild. But yes, there's plenty of famous voice actors that show up in the Fallout franchise, and they all lend their voices to do such a good experience and such a good job for the games. It's really good.
Yep, it's really great. So like I mean, I like Fallout it is one of those IPs that it's just so iconic, and people might not like it, like the old man in the chat, but yeah, it's great, dude.
No, it definitely is. Which, oh god, it's one of the disappointing things that we are going to ultimately have to bring this up and talk about it.
Yeah,
but Bethesda, when they finally took over the show, took over the franchise, they did finally announce a show with Amazon. And at first I was excited about that, hearing that, oh, we're finally getting a Fallout show. This is great. But at the same time, I was also hesitant because when Fallout 4 came out, first year, I really did like it. And the fact that Xbox offered mod support from the get-go, which was great. I managed to really increase the lifespan for me on the game. But I think a year into playing it, I think it must have been maybe a few months after Nuka World came out, that I slowly came to the realization I don't really like this game as much as I love the other ones.
Yeah,
there's something about it that I just not a big fan of.
I could not get into Nuka World. I've tried to play it multiple freaking times, and I just have not been able to beat it yet.
See, one of the things about it is that when it comes to Nuka World, you have 2 options on how you would play it. You can either set up your own kind of like raider group, essentially, and that opens up all different kinds of options and possibilities, or option number 2, which is just basically killing all of the raiders that exist there and then kind of cutting yourself away from all that extra content, which kind of defeats the purpose. You know what I mean? It felt like it felt like you could have done something more with it by expanding the Minutemen, shall we say, right? You could have expanded the Minutemen on the opposite effect by having the
Oh yeah,
Minutemen come and, take over Nuka World, take out the Raiders, or convince the Raiders to join you instead to try and do a more noble cause. But
yeah,
this is
and
this whole thing is
it,
part
it
of
felt half-assed.
it's to me, it felt like it was part of the like what we were saying in the green room before or in the back room, however you want to describe it. It felt like it's Bethesda's continuation of turning the Fallout franchise into a giant amusement park where all you do is run around
Literally, in that
acting
case,
like a raider, shooting and taking whatever you'd like, which, okay, fine. The post-apocalyptic world, there's plenty of groups that do that, but there's also plenty of groups that their sole purpose is trying to rebuild civilization. The NCR tried doing that. The Minutemen were trying to do that. Rivet City and Megaton were trying to do that in Fallout 3. Hell,
mhm.
even my favorite chapter of the Brotherhood of Steel, which is the Lions chapter,
Elder
they were
Lions, yeah,
they were more focused about trying to rebuild society and help mankind rather than just hoard technology. When once Fallout 4 introduced the Brotherhood of Steel and basically brought them back to the Western roots again, I was
yeah,
immediately checked out. I didn't want to care about helping the Brotherhood of Steel at all. In fact, I
yeah.
helped make sure I bombed the Pridwin.
Which I'm gonna be honest, the Pridwin in itself is a really, really cool piece of machinery in the
Mhm.
Fallout universe.
Yeah.
But dude, it's just it felt so kind of
It's one thing if you have one giant airship, that's just a
mhm,
Pridwin, right? But then when the show introduced that there's multiple airships that
across the
somehow
across
all
the wasteland.
yeah, that somehow the Brotherhood of Steel has managed to make multiples and give them to other chapters. That's when it started diluting the kind of this the
The
uniqueness, shall we
spectacle.
say, of the and the
Yeah,
spectacle of the show.
the
Now
general
it's just
awe
something
of
they all
just
have.
seeing yeah. Like, I will say, in the scene in Fallout 4 where they literally, like, you see the Pridwen coming in,
And
that is a dope scene.
it is this
Like
that happens just after you kill Kellogg. And
yep, Kellogg.
well, spoilers for anyone who hasn't played the game, but after you kill Kellogg, who's the guy that kidnapped your son, and you get out of the building, that's when you see Brotherhood of Steel arriving in vertibirds and in the Pridwin, and it's quite the scene when they show up because they're blasting through the intercoms that people of the Commonwealth, your
Do not fear,
salvation
we are
years,
yeah,
and yeah, all that kind of stuff.
yeah.
Basically, it's wild.
It's a spectacular scene, like, I
Right.
props like, I'll give props to Bethesda on that. That's a really awesome
To be
but then
100% fair, though, it isn't really unique
no,
because
it's not unique.
if you remember playing Fallout Tactics, you know that the Midwest chapter has their own airship. They were the first ones to have their own airship.
Yep.
Of course, nobody really talks about Tactics because even Bethesda themselves have sort of decanonized it, or at least parts of it are not canon anymore. So but that's one that I still would like to talk about because
Oh, yeah.
it's a good game. I actually do enjoy that one as well
So,
too.
I have not played Tactics yet. I've only played Fallout 1, 2, and, I do eventually wanna try, getting my hands on Brotherhood of Steel
Mhm. Right.
eventually.
I mean, I wouldn't really want to, but at the same time, it is a part of history, so I suppose we can give
Yeah,
it a shot. But yes, putting all of that aside, of course, let's actually get to the real meat and bones of the stream, which is
which we're gonna before we get to the season 2, we're gonna talk about season 1 of Fallout,
yes, we should do
and,
that
like
actually.
yeah, so,
Mhm.
again, what are your thoughts on season 1?
Overall, for season 1, it's see, first jumping into the show, I was cautiously optimistic, let's put it that way, because I wanted to believe that they would actually try and do the show justice. And then when I actually started watching it, I knew for a fact that this is clearly something that they intend on modeling. Let me put it like this. The aesthetic that they had in Fallout 4 and 76, which is like the newer aesthetic, for the Fallout franchise, that's the one they're really trying to push for. That's the one that they
Yep,
really wanna introduce for any other entry that comes out, whether it's a TV show, a comic book, a video game, whatever it is, that's
it's
gonna be what they
Bethesda.
want. Yes, that's gonna be what they want the Fallout series to be. That specific new Bethesda look that they gave it, where the weapons are, like, twice the size of a human being, or, they're
Oh.
running around wearing these, like, sort of skin-tight jumpsuits, but it has this, like, clean, almost bright matte look to it, essentially.
Yep.
And the other thing too is that the architecture all looks like this sort of like world of tomorrow, retro futuristic design. And if you've played the older games, you know that the aesthetic, the architecture, and the design is different because it combines Art Deco architecture and looks along with this sort of 90s edgy comic book style feel. Like, for example, in Fallout 3, some of the buildings have these like, crazy faces, right, on them, and
Yep.
that's prevalent in Art Deco design. But
It
it
is.
has that sort of edge to it, like if you remembered something like, I don't know, Batman Forever, right? Some of the shots for when you see Wayne Enterprises on that, have, the big statues, but it still looks, majestic and like this sort of grandiose build, shall we say, right?
Kind of larger
And
larger than life stuff.
yes, larger than life. And the older Fallout games had that aesthetic and it was unique, and they still tried following that aesthetic with Fallout 3 New Vegas. But then the chief art director for Bethesda at the time actually passed away. So it was around 2015 when when the new game came out. That's when they introduced the new art director, which now gives us this Atom Punk style of look, essentially, where all the buildings are super colorful and stick out like a sore thumb, but they also have this like rounded, almost like safe, I guess you could say, like feel to it. And it just it feels it's very
Mhm.
it very much contrasts what we saw before. And it almost felt like I couldn't really dive into the world because of that. You know what I mean?
It kind of felt jarring because on one hand, like, the Fallout IP had this kind of set up look to it, and
Right.
then suddenly in the next game, it's just a fundamentally different look, and then they're trying to just retcon it to where that was always the look, and
Right. Some of the
it's jarring.
concept art for like the older games, it almost looked like something out of a Frank Frazetta piece of art. Frank Frazetta
Yeah,
was like well known for like making a lot of those like Conan the Barbarian style, like sword and sorcery style pieces of art. Some of the concept art they had looked like that, and it really sold the world being gritty, bleak, but not nearly hopeless though. Sure, there were a few bits of dark comedy that existed in the first few games. The one thing I won't tolerate, however, is the fact that a lot of the new fans like to take that and say, "Oh, well, Fallout was never meant to be taken seriously at all." It's like, are you kidding me, dude?
that is a disingenuous argument. That's such a
Look
disingenuous.
look at the world outside and try and tell me if any of this can't be taken seriously. But again, that's Bethesda trying to turn the Fallout franchise into a giant amusement park, like I say, where everything's fun. You just jump in, shoot mutant creatures, and have fun all the live long
Well,
day.
I mean, in New Vegas and well, hell, and even Fallout 3, I mean, like, they were far more brutal and far more gritty than what we got in Fallout 4 and 76. I mean,
Exactly.
yeah, we see some gory, like, posts where you see, like, humans impaled on things or gore bags, like, in the Superman
Mhm.
layers in
Right,
Fallout
right.
4 and 76. But in Fallout 3 in New Vegas and, before, like, we got current day Bethesda, we got to see a bunch of graphic stuff. I mean, like, there was slavers, there was freaking, like, those detonation collars, and
Right. Mhm.
it was brutal,
All the
and they
other
tried
stuff, yeah.
you can tell, like, they tried to bring that back in Nuka World, but
Mhm. It
anyway
didn't really feel the same, but for
anyway, the whole
the
thing
whole
about
thing with the show, right. No, I know we got a
yeah,
little off topic with that, but,
they
that's
are
what that oops, sorry, go
I was
ahead.
gonna say they're trying to over completely erase the interplay stuff and make
Yes.
it the Bethesda stuff.
Even their own stuff that they had before, it feels like they're trying to race it, and the new aesthetic, the new feel, the new vibe that they have for it, that's what they wanna push going forward. And I was
Yep.
like, "Alright, fine, let's just sit down, I'll try and tolerate it, and we'll see how it goes." Um, the characters, there's only a few that well, actually, I think there's only 1 or maybe 2 that I actually really do enjoy. The second one, however, we can talk about when we talk about season 2. But,
Yep.
the only character so far I would say that really sells it to me, not just being in terms of, like, a character that's true to Fallout, but, like, in terms of just overall acting and appearance and performance, Walton Goggins as the Ghoul and as
I
Cooper
was
Howard.
honestly
He's go ahead.
peak
Go ahead.
acting,
Yes.
in the show.
No, absolutely. He does a really good job. And even though he's somebody that hasn't played the game before and he even has gone on record saying he doesn't feel like he needs to play the game, which my personal opinion, if I was directing the damn show, I'd make sure everybody actually plays at least
Know the source material.
12 hours of the game, or just do what Macaulay Culkin did, which is, look up some lore videos and just do some research on that. We'll get to him soon enough. But yes, Walton Goggins as the Ghoul and as Cooper Howard actually does a really good job. I actually do kind of appreciate his performance as it. He reminds me very much of like the character Charon from Fallout 3, who's the one ghoul that you can hire from Azrakal. Just dirty, rotten kind of scoundrel, but the reason why he's a dirty, rotten scoundrel is because he knows how brutal the world can be. That's why he decides and chooses to be that dirty, rotten scoundrel, because he's not going to try and be a goody two shoes with the possibility that he gets, bit in the ass because of that, or worse, get, bit to death by a rad roach, a rad scorpion, or a death claw. Got to do what you got to do to survive.
Human behemoth.
Exactly. Got to do whatever it takes to survive.
It is a survival of the fittest world.
As for probably the true protagonist of the series, which is Lucy from Vault 33, she's okay. She's okay of a character. I liked how in the first season she does slowly progress into understanding that the world is pretty bad and pretty rotten, so she's gonna have to start adapting to it. I know some people talk about how she's just supposed to be like the good karma type character in Fallout. And it's like you can't really apply karma at all when it comes to the show. And the thing too is that starting in Fallout 4, karma no longer became a thing that really existed.
Yeah.
So you can't really make the description of karma when it comes to that, because Bethesda themselves already dropped karma. So you could pretty much say the same thing here. She's obviously a ditzy, wide-eyed, fish out of water type character.
Very naive, very naive.
Yes, very naive
of the how the not the Commonwealth, but how the whole wasteland works.
Wasteland works, yes. You know what? That's kind of a weird thing, is that we can't call this by how a lot of other regions are called. So in Fallout 1 and 2, they were referred to as the core region. Fallout 3, that one was referred to as the Capital Wasteland. Then you had the Mojave Wasteland in New Vegas, the Commonwealth in Fallout 4, 76 was Appalachia. This one, however, just kind of generically called a wasteland because you're going all over the place. You're going through the Mojave, you're going through the core region, but actually, you know what? We might as well talk about it real quick. One of the things that I didn't really like about the show was the way that they changed the layout of the world, shall we say. So Vaults 31, 32, and 33 happen to be outside of, I think it's Santa Barbara or Santa Monica. Like they're right next to the beach and where Los Angeles would be, essentially, right? But the strange thing is that they put Shady Sands where the LA Boneyard is supposed to be. That's kind of weird, because Los Angeles was the LA Boneyard in the first game, and that's also where Vault 12 was, where a lot of the ghoul population came to be. But instead, they moved Shady Sands over there. Which I don't understand why they would do that, because you're changing the layout for a lot of the locations here.
I mean, I don't. I'm gonna be honest. There were things I liked. I just saw Phantom's comment.
Yeah, I saw it.
It just took me off a rail.
I mean, you're not wrong, Phantom, but
no.
What were you gonna say? Yeah.
No. But like the whole thing that I think there are some good parts of the Fallout Season 1.
Oh, yeah, of course.
I think Walton Goggins is the best character in the show, hands down. I think even so far with Season 1 and 2, he's still the best.
Yes. It helps because of like the backstory that he has.
Yes, exactly that. Exactly that, because it's just it's a really clever way to, say, hey, to show the audience what happened pre-war. Although I don't like the lore changes that they're doing in the show at all, and I know both don't. And I like the whole layout with how they position things like Shady Sands. And first of all, I hate what they did to Shady Sands. I hate it.
Yeah.
But my main gripe is honestly just the fact that when it comes to the show, it seems like they don't have an understanding of how the world works and layouts and like cities and all that.
Mm-hmm.
And it is frustrating because there's a lot of things that are so inconsistent compared to the
games.
games.
Right.
And now if they did this, if they said, well, this is a separate continuity, we're going to do his own like kind of own world thing, that'd be one thing. You could then justify a lot of the changes.
Sure, you
But
could do
then
that.
we both know they said it's canon to the games, so we're just like,
it's canon to the games, and Todd Howard intends on using it to set up Fallout 5. That's the part that really, really frustrates me the most. I would even say it infuriates me because everything that's going on in the show is going to be setting up for 5. So what you're basically saying is then in that Fallout 5, 0 factions that we all knew about, it's all going to be completely brand new. And, you have all this stuff that's set up before. Hell, I wouldn't even be surprised if they tried introducing some of the characters from the show into this new game as well, too. I can almost guarantee that's going to happen.
They already introduced Walton Goggins' Ghoul into Fallout 76.
Oh, right.
He's already a character in it, voiced by Walton Goggins. So, and another gripe of mine is, I know it would be damn hard on his voice, but I really don't like that he doesn't speak like a ghoul, like with that raspy tone.
That's the other thing is that that's one of the lore changes that you were mentioning before, is that they actually, starting with Fallout 4, but then of course really pushing it in the show, they changed the way that ghouls function. Now, ghouls before basically acted in a similar manner to humans, where, they still needed to eat, they still needed to drink, they still needed to sleep, they still had bodily functions as well too. Granted, I don't know how those bodily functions work because they're walking corpses, but putting all that aside, the only caveat obviously is that unlike humans, radiation is something they can use to heal as well. That's something that ghouls were able to do. But starting in Fallout 4, the design of them radically changed because the first 2 games, you had so many different looking like walking corpses. Like a lot of them, almost every ghoul looked unique. And then Fallout 3 New Vegas, they softened the designs of them a little bit, but you still see that they obviously are ghouls. You could almost,
and they were creepy looking in Fallout 3 New Vegas.
You could almost compare them to like the aliens from They Live. They almost look similarly to that, just without, of course, the lips being pulled all the way back to show their gums and teeth, and like the eyes looking kind of soulless. But it was something similar. Starting in Fallout 4, however, they were softened up even more, where they just look like zombies without noses and just bald and like pale flesh that was just slowly melting off, but it looked like melted cheese. It looked like something
it just looked like they had 3rd-degree burns.
Basically, that's basically what it was, right? And
instead of radiation damage and like,
Yes. Yeah, the design, the new designs for the ghouls really softens them up. It does, they don't feel as terrifying because now they just look like generic zombies, which when we get to season 2, we'll talk about like the one specific scene where they really acted like zombies, but and you know which one I mean. But in season 1, I think one of the biggest gripes that I have, and this is one of the biggest gripes. Let's talk about Shady Sands. What happened with Shady Sands, right? So the one episode where Lucy was in Vault 4, I believe it was, where they were doing some kind of weird experiments. She sees, of course, the chalkboard that talks about the history of the NCR, where NCR was founded. They expanded 2277, which is when Fallout 3 takes place. It says the fall of Shady Sands. Now, I know a lot of people were kind of contesting what that meant in the first place. You could say, yes, fall of Shady Sands is similarly to like fall of the Roman Empire, where it's like a slow decline kind of thing. And then you have the arrow that leads, of course, to the nuke bomb, which obviously shows that, and we see it happen in season 2 as well. We'll talk about it when we get to that. But when we get to that part in the chalkboard where it shows that Shady Sands got completely nuked, Yeah, NCR completely crippled. All you could basically say that it vanished. At least in this season, you could say it basically vanished. And then when we get to the last episode, where Moldaver and the rest of the remnants of the NCR are in Griffith Observatory, and then the Brotherhood attacks them because they have the little MacGuffin that gives them a cold fusion energy, which is like the big thing
Yeah,
that everybody
the little
was
cold
trying to get.
fusion was it like container, I guess?
Yeah, yeah. The little thingamabob, gizmo, whatever you want to call it. Which
The MacGuffin,
they,
as you put it.
yes, which they only managed to get because you had one guy defecting from the Enclave, which somehow, even after the oil rig was destroyed in 2, they were destroyed by Raven Rock was destroyed in 3, and then Adams Air Force Base was destroyed in Broken Steel. Somehow the Enclave still survives after all this time. Yes, I get it. In New Vegas, you had remnants, but it was literally just
okay.
remnants.
It's not even just that they survived. It's that in the show, they have enough influence and power to operate this mysterious underground facility that still and it has like, you know, these advanced turrets that somehow don't hit shit.
Yeah. Don't hit the scientists, or don't hit the dog that the scientists
yeah
somehow.
Which you could have had an interesting thing there where like one of the bullets nicks the dog's leg or nicks his arm or something, and yeah, they both have to kind of figure that out. But no, it's just he is literally just there to move the plot forward. He doesn't really have much character either. Like he's just there for from plot device from MacGuffin to get to the main character.
They call these things a walking Chekhov, essentially. Well, like Chekhov's gun would be the kind of thing. But yeah, that's all that he is that he's exists solely so that way the plot is able to advance and continue onwards. But
he's not a character. He's a tool for the plot.
Exactly. That's all that it is. And once he outlives his usefulness as said tool, you know, he's taken off. He literally dies, and that's it. And then when we get to the last episode and they have the device, and then she manages to finally catch up with Moldaver and her father. God, what was the father's name again?
Hank.
Hank. Yes, thank you. Hank. It was Hank. Then she spills the beans. Hank's the reason why.
Hank McClane was his name.
Hank McClane, Lucy McClane. That's what their name was.
It took me a second to remember his last name. So
right. And then once we finally get to I got a little distracted by what Phantom said. Once we get to there, and then Moldaver reveals the truth that it was Hank. That's the reason why the NCR was completely nuked. And then of course they even show the mom there who turned into a ghoul. And I guess Moldaver and the mom were lesbian lovers for some reason. I don't know why. That's another thing that they introduced in that. And then after that occurs, Brotherhood of Steel show up, start waging war against each other, and Hank is there explaining, you have no understanding as to what this world's really like, is all these factions fighting each other, vying for control. And the only thing that I can think of, and it's like what we said before, Bethesda basically trying to turn the thing into an amusement park where you have your little action figures just fighting each other, you know, for fun, for funsies, just to see. It doesn't even matter who comes out on top. It's just for the sheer sport of it. And yet somehow the only two factions that exist in this, almost unscathed, I would say almost unscathed because we'll talk about it in season 2, are the Enclave and the Brotherhood of Steel. The ones that Bethesda, and yes, these factions already existed in the game, but these are the ones that Bethesda primarily focused on in 3, because Bethesda was the one that mainly developed 3. Obsidian was the one that developed New Vegas, which is why you see the other factions like
the Great
NCR, the Great Khans, the Vipers, the Jackals, all of them from like the first game.
That's a nice thing about, and that's not including the DLCs. So the DLCs have a bunch of new factions and all that as well. But the thing that you can tell with Obsidian is like they put more depth into the world with more factions because that's realistic. Instead, with Bethesda, and they do this in a show, they do this in all the games they've made, you primarily see the same old factions that they reuse and rehash, which is primarily the Brotherhood and Enclave.
Yes, those two are the ones that they do primarily try to use over and over. Hell, you even see the Brotherhood again in Fallout 76, which this is probably the most egregious thing I would say for me, because they more or less retcon the creation of the Brotherhood of Steel. They didn't
Yep.
exist in the 2090s. They only came into existence
Also,
around the 2100s.
the Enclave does make a cameo in there.
Jesus Christ.
So they
Well,
they don't make a cameo as in a full blown like organization, but like there's this like you can find some Enclave like not remnants, but like an outpost and all that, or a thing that would be the Enclave. And I'm like, are you kidding me?
Again, it just feels like they're primarily using these two because they're their favorites, and then everybody else gets the short end of the stick, like with the NCR just being completely blown to smithereens. And it's just, I did not appreciate that. That's kind of how they're handling the different factions that came outside of them. It's like being granted a new toy, but because you don't like the new toy, you kind of want to chuck it out and throw it out in the mud, not worry about it, and and play with these new toys. Or better yet, because somebody's telling you now, no, we bought this new toy for you, at least try and give it a shot. Because somebody's telling you to do that, you're going to be so spiteful about it, and you're going to grab it and kind of ruin it even more,
Yeah.
just to basically get back at them for it, which is
Honestly,
ridiculous.
it's like the season 1 for ending, and the fact that they confirmed that Vault Tech were the ones who dropped the bombs
Yes,
really
that's another thing I
angered me.
forgot.
It really frustrated me, because it's just like, why? Well, I mean, I get Vault Tech was meant to be this company who did like these nasty experiments on many of their vaults, but to have
Yes.
them be the ones who just destroyed civilization.
It's the argument that they're trying to it's the whole like capitalism bad argument, basically. That's all that it is, because
Yeah,
the writers are clearly politically compromised. They clearly lean on the left in some way, shape, or form. So they have to try and continue this whole capitalism bad, you know, gaining all this money bad, business bad, all this kind of stuff, right? Basically, because you have Robert Houston there, part of the meeting discussing that. Then you got the CEO and all the big executives of Vaultec discussing that. Yeah, okay, I'll give them props a little bit on this.
yes, and
There was
that's where this
Yes,
originated from.
that's just what I was about to say, Chell. There was a script for a canceled Fallout movie. They were going to suggest the idea that Vaultec was the one that drops the bombs. I understand it, but at the same time, and I can't believe I'm invoking words of God here, but Tim Kaine, who's the creator of the original Fallout games, he's already gone on record saying China's the one that starts the war.
Yep.
China's the one that drops the bombs. China's the one that launches the nukes. And it makes more sense because if you remember looking at the lore, after Operation Anchorage, after the Americans managed to push the Chinese back from Alaska, they the Americans actually invade mainland China with, power armor and with
China
their
started losing.
forces. And when China
China's
started
yeah.
losing, they basically decided to nuke the world. The US had to respond in kind.
Yeah, they China in the lore of the first two games, they went and they had to ultimately. Well, China was just like, if I'm going down, I'm taking everyone with me.
Yeah, exactly. That's how it was. And I understand the other games also kind of throw some theories out there that could have
Mhm.
suggested it was the Americans, could have most likely been the Chinese as well, which now we know because it's Tim Kaine, it was the Chinese. They even suggested it could have been aliens. If you played Mothership
Yeah.
Zeta, one of the recordings
Uh-huh.
you pick up from the Zetans is that they captured a high
Well,
profile US government there you go. Yes.
yep.
Aliens might have pulled the new codes from a high government official.
Chell,
Could have
did
been
you read our
them.
minds or something?
Chell definitely understands this. Hell, I would even suggest
Yes.
he could be on the next stream just to talk about it because he knows his
I
Fallout
mean,
lore as well too.
yeah.
But anyways, yes, a lot of theories were circulating about who started the war. But since Tim Kaine, who's the creator, said that it was the Chinese, it was the Chinese. But instead, now they changed the lore. Bethesda's changing the lore to say that Voltec is the one that started the war, and I presume the
Corporation bad.
reason corporation bad. I assume the reason why is because we have to
Yo, Nagano.
justify the existence. What's up, Nagadol? We have to justify the existence of the vaults and spending all this money for the vaults. But the vaults have already been something they've been planning on doing since the 2060s. If you remember, during the 2050s and 2060s, there was the resource wars. the European Commonwealth had to basically fight against various nations in the Middle East to try and gain some more oil, to try and gain more water, to try and gain more, well, as it says, resources. That war ultimately ended with the EU crumbling and dismantling, and it ended with Tel Aviv and a few other cities in the Middle East basically being nuked. Yeah. So when that happened, the United States government basically enlisted the help of Vault-Tec to start building underground vaults. That's the reason for why Vault-Tec existed.
Yes, because the nukes went off and the US government was like, yeah, we should probably have countermeasures just in case.
Nukes in the Middle East went off, and that's when they immediately realized they need to have a backup plan. That's what they did. The Enclave also started building their own secret vaults and their own secret facilities away from this as well too. But the U.S. government, like at least the on the surface U.S. government, along with Vault-Tec, started building all these vaults. But at the same time, the Enclave also managed to take control of that entire project and managed to start pushing the idea of the experiments, the great experiments that exist across all of the different vaults, right? Yep. Now, overall, the season one, I don't want to say I hate it, because a lot of it was all right. Again, like what Shaw had guy, and I also saw Barbie Breeden was here as well too.
Yep, I just
all I can say is that it was all right the first season. Like I said, the positives, the ghoul, the presentation of the show, even though they're following the aesthetic of 4 and 76, like they managed to actually get it to a T.
I will say this. Yeah, I'll say this about I will give them props for how the visuals they did, the visuals of the props, of the power armor,
the weapons themselves too.
The weapons. I will, but I know I don't like the design of Bethesda's weapons in the games, but I will give them props for the presentation of
they followed it to a T, which is good. We just don't like what aesthetic they use.
They followed the wrong thing to the T.
Yeah, exactly. Lucy was all right because you actually do see some character development occur throughout the first season. I think the weakest character for me had to have been Maximus, to be honest. Like I wanted to try and like Maximus, but he very much feels like a character.
You mean the whiny little freaking Brotherhood of Steel?
Yeah,
character who somehow managed to become a freaking knight.
Becomes a knight because, God, what's that actor's name? I forgot what the actor's name was, but he just gets eaten by a Yao Guai, gets chucked around. This is the same dude that in social media he was talking about. If you're gonna ask me to vote for Joe Biden or limp dick Donald Trump, I'm sorry, but I'm voting for Michael Rappaport. That's his name. Yes, it's the same. It's the same dude that's doing that. That's the only reason I saw him in there. Him now because
when I saw him in there, that drama happened before the Fallout season 1 came out. So I was hey, this guy.
Yeah, that's what I was like, holy shit, this is the same guy who says he'll vote for limp dick Donald Trump, or as I like to assume he's saying big dick Donald Trump just because of his accent.
No, but like honestly, like he was a good character in the show. Like I was kind of disappointed that they killed him off so fast.
Yeah, he was okay as Titus.
Yes, like, real straw hat guy. That was Michael Rappaport.
That was Michael Rappaport as Titus, like showing up for that little moment. It was kind of funny because after he takes the visor off and the helmet, and like you actually hear his voice, like, holy shit, it's this guy.
Yeah, I will say I don't like the whole setup what they did with the Brotherhood of Steel in the show. I get this is a different chapter of the Brotherhood of Steel. But I'm like, this is like more of like in a cult, not a military armed forces.
So you can make the argument that the Brotherhood of Steel kind of are a cult only because of the obsession they have with technology.
No, I get that, but the way they handled it is just like Brother Titus or like stuff like that.
Right. So the thing is with the new, because here's the thing, the show also introduces a new rank, which is clerics. Clerics somehow have a high standing as opposed to like elder, I guess you could say, because you have cleric Quintus, who's the one that's in charge of that chapter of the Brotherhood of Steel. He's not an elder, but instead he's a cleric. So somehow that's a new rank that they introduced. They also have like the little swinging thing with the the smoke coming out. So they're either trying to invoke the Adeptus Mechanicus from Warhammer 40K,
That's what I was thinking.
or they're trying to copy Orthodox
Okay,
Christianity, which does
so
the same thing.
Ronin, did you in season 2, because we're gonna have to get to season 2 now,
Yeah,
or as soon as possible. In season 2, when there were some of the things that they said, like the knight said, that just gave me straight up vibes of 40K. Like you'd hear a Space Marine say, and I'm like, what? Okay.
It is weird, like some of the new presentations of it. Plus, since we are talking about season 2, let's actually talk about the meeting that Cleric Quintus had with the different chapters.
With the different chapters. Yeah.
They literally tried painting the Brotherhood of Steel to be some kind of sexist frat boys club, which is the most ridiculous thing they could do, because, okay, when Xander Harkness shows up, right? He's coming from the Commonwealth. He's a representative of the Commonwealth. That's a Brotherhood of Steel chapter that first started in Washington, D.C. If you remember, in Washington, D.C.,
Night Lions.
Sentinel, Sarah Lions.
Yeah, Sentinel, not Knight.
Sentinel's one of the rarest ranks that occurs, but Sentinel's almost like probably the highest rank for
it's a very distinguished
person that would
rank.
Wear power armor, basically.
Yes, it's a very distinguished rank for and they just, and then first of all, the fact that they say, oh, she just disappeared somewhere. I'm like, what? Like, no, just no, like, oh, freaking, like, oh, she died in combat, like a hero, trying to protect people, or
my money is
Arthur captured by
my money is Arthur Maxon had her killed because she was going to try and continue her father's legacy. Elder Owen Lyons, and caring more about the people of the wasteland. Ronin for being brown.
Oh, shit. No, but like, dude. Okay. Oh, hold on.
Sure.
I clicked it too fast.
Well, being called just more by them being no disciplined idiots. Yes, no, I agree. That's the same thing too.
In season 2, like you see some of the knights just like activate a plasma grenade, and they're just kind of tossing around. I'm like,
very undisciplined in that regard. But again, this is the same group who says that they hoard technology so that way humanity doesn't use it to destroy themselves. Now you got these two fucking knuckleheads playing with a plasma grenade, chucking it around like they're playing hot potato. Like, you got to be kidding me, dude. It's wild.
And they find that freaking car, that car in pristine shape, so it could very theoretically run perfectly
and blow it up,
and they just destroy it. I'm like, are you? That's not what the Brotherhood would do.
I think no, but I think the worst thing, and this also comes in terms of like general writing as a television show too. They didn't have the cold fusion device protected at all. Nobody was protecting the cold fusion device. So basically, the diversity hire was just able to walk right in and grab it, no problem. Again, this is the most important piece of technology the Brotherhood of Steel has acquired,
and nobody.
You don't even protect it. No one's guarding it. You should have your most high-ranking paladins guard that shit.
If they wanted to do something that references to the Fallout show, they could have like her come in, like, or him. It's a her, but they could have her come in and like sneak behind the knights. Like like how you can with a good, and you say, oh, she has a really good, she's really good sneaky.
Or have a stealth boy to do a nice reference, like have her have a stealth boy, activate the stealth boy, use that to sneak in, grab it, quickly get the hell out before the stealth boy runs out. You could have done something a little bit smarter than that. I'm just saying.
No, it just waltzes in. There's no guard. There's not even a freaking not even a few scribes there to kind of make sure it's operating perfectly or anything. It's just unaccompanied. So I'm like, what then? Do you really value this piece of technology if you're not going to protect it from being taken?
No, again, like what Chell says, very low discipline, zero discipline.
Yes, especially for a freaking a military faction that's existed for over 100 years at this point.
Exactly. Well, and that's the biggest problem, is that the continued existence that they've had now has completely diluted the overall objective that Roger Maxon has tried to push for the Brotherhood of Steel.
Yeah.
Roger Maxon probably is rolling in his grave at sonic speeds right now because of all of this. Hell, he's rolling at sonic speeds. What? They name dropped him, yes.
Yeah.
Which is probably the most egregious thing they could have done, considering everything that's happening in the Brotherhood of Steel now. They try and invoke his name, and yet a few minutes later, airships are all blowing each other up, and they're all at civil war with one another.
Yeah.
They
Again,
have
like
completely lost
the
the
thing
plot in
that
all of it.
really pissed me off was the fact that the airships, like that there's multiple airships, when in Fallout 4 they clearly did state that this was built by the ones like the Capital Wasteland, and they flew over from the Capital Wasteland to Boston in that airship.
Right.
And somehow that, like, there's suddenly dozens, like multiple airships already across the freaking the whole wasteland, which is just so freaking frustrating.
Yep, it is.
It's like Bethesda's not even following their own lore.
Now, stepping out of like the Brotherhood of Steel, considering how much of a mess that is now, let's take a look at what's actually going on when it comes to New Vegas. They've changed the structure of New Vegas okay, I'll give them credit. I'll give them an understanding on this. During development, New Vegas was supposed to be much bigger, but because of time constraints and processing power for technology,
they only had 18 months. So
they only had 18 months, and they didn't really have enough high tech to be able to make New Vegas as big and as expansive as they wanted it to. So you only get Freeside, which is in the north section, and then once you go into Freeside and go through the north entrance, you get New Vegas, which the first part you have the Lucky 38 Casino and the Gamora. Then the second section, you have the Tops Casino and you have the Ultralux. Then you go to the third spot where you have Vault 21 and a few other locations in there as well.
And the NCR locations.
Oh, the NCR's embassy, the NCR embassy.
Yeah, the embassy. They had an embassy in there because they made a deal specifically with House that the soldiers could be there.
Yes, they did. Now, when you actually watch the show, everything feels like it's just been scrunched up together, trying to have everything into one area and trying to have everything in the camera, just so that way, you could essentially have your member berries, your Gibbs. You're like, oh, you remember this, you remember that, remember the Gamora, remember Lucky 38 Casino, remember the Ultralux. And that's not even the worst part about it, though. The worst part about it has to be, if you remember when you watched the end of season 1 and New Vegas looked pretty dark, you didn't see any lights. It looked like the city was abandoned. Season 2 comes. We now know why the city was abandoned. They turned it into a Deathclaw nest.
Which, dude, it doesn't even make sense. I mean,
I would have given them more props if the tunnelers were the ones that showed up. Now, for quick bit of information for no one who gets it, in Fallout New Vegas, there's a DLC called Lonesome Road. One of the enemies that you fight is known as the tunnelers, which are basically these like humanoid reptilian monsters. They're similar to the Deathclaw, but they're a big pain in the ass because unlike the Deathclaws who just come charging at you with their giant ass claws, these guys burrow into the ground, try and come up at you for like surprise attacks. And for some reason, they're also fairly tanky as well, too, from what I remember.
They are.
One of the endings suggested that the tunnelers slowly but surely could make their way towards New Vegas. Now, if that's what had happened after 20 years or after 10 some odd years in this show, that it was tunnelers that were taking over, all right, I would have given them props and I would have respected it because it's like, okay, you're actually kind of sticking close to lore on this. And the tunnelers showing up in mass as they would, I suppose it makes sense that they could have overwhelmed the NCR and House's Securitron forces. But instead, you're taking, the more popular monster, the Deathclaw, and just having that be the case. The only way you can somehow explain that is that the Deathclaws somehow overpopulated from Quarry Junction and made their way north into New Vegas. But
yeah,
that can't be feasible either.
But you notice they only showed one Deathclaw.
One Deathclaw, yeah.
Now, I don't know if they're going to show more that say maybe it was like 6 or 7 Deathclaws that came in and all that. But then again, there's no way that those two alone could deal with that many Deathclaws. So I'm pretty sure it's just going to be one Deathclaw
that they somehow managed to run away from. Yeah.
What I'm speculating right now is that they're gonna manage to barely flee with their lives. The Ghoul and Lucy are gonna barely flee with their lives, and they're gonna leave, and they're gonna have to come back with Maximus in the power armor,
right,
to fight this Deathclaw,
which is what we see in the trailers and everything.
Yeah, which what we see in the trailer. But the thing that just really frustrates me is that they showed the upgraded Securitron, show that Mr. House was able to upgrade the Securitrons,
get the platinum chip, yeah.
Which means that the Securitrons in New Vegas would be upgraded, because in the games, that's what happens. They are the first ones to get the upgrade to protect Vegas.
These are Securitrons that not only have, like, the guns on their hands, but they
Yep,
have those little big
missile
boxes,
launchers.
which
They're
are actually missile
launchers.
launchers. They would have,
and they also have
weapons and capabilities to fight them.
They are highly destructive forces, and I mean, in New Vegas, they are, before they get the upgrade, they are pretty much deemed as something you can't fight. They're not easy to fight. They're very tanky, dangerous machines.
Yes, yes.
But when they get the upgrades, that's kind of like two of them could probably take down in multiple squads of freaking NCR.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
And it's frustrating, because then they showed this one, which is, it's nowhere near New Vegas, and it's like malfunctioning. And yeah, we do see like it used the rockets and all that, but then we go to New Vegas and it's completely destroyed. And in the lore, they've said that they've dealt with Deathclaws. They've dealt with, a bunch of things that were trying to,
when they went into the city, when House had the Securitrons come into the city in the first place, they were dealing with tribals. They were dealing with a bunch of other monsters. I think they were even dealing with a few Deathclaws in there as well too. They handled it no problem with the Mark 1s. That's just the Mark 1s, not even the Mark 2s, which is how they get upgraded by the platinum chip. But yeah, somehow now a Deathclaw or a few Deathclaws.
Somehow the Deathclaw returned.
Yeah, God. A positive, I don't know if I want to call it a positive, but it's sort of a light positive. We saw Victor come back for a little bit. Victor kind of showed up.
I thought that was a decent cameo.
It was a decent cameo, but it was weird that he was in Camp Golf,
that's what I was wondering.
Was also completely abandoned. And mind you, Camp Golf happens to be the station for a lot of the Rangers. That's where the NCR Rangers were.
What I don't understand is, like, when Shady Sands fell, then why did it seem like every NCR outpost across the freaking West Coast
just got abandoned?
Just kind of disappeared. I'm like, that's not what the NCR would do. What they would do is they would likely, what we'd see is probably Camp Golf would be the new focus, the new main station.
Right.
And it's frustrating, because Bethesda's showing that they're not even following their own lore.
Right.
And again, I was annoyed with this. Okay, so do you remember in Fallout 4 that I mentioned it in a few times in DMs? Do you remember that in Fallout 4 when the you see that kid in the
fridge? Yeah, the ghoul kid in the fridge. Yeah,
the kid, he's been there for what, a few hundred years at that point, so he had constant exposure to radiation and all that.
Well, again, this is them changing the lore, saying that ghouls no longer need to eat or drink or sleep or anything like that. They just need a specific drug to keep them from being feral.
Well, in Fallout 4, they didn't even need drugs. They could exist for hundreds of years.
That's true, too. It was only the drugs that were introduced in the show, but yeah.
Yep. But the part that frustrated me was we see that kid, due to consistent exposure to radiation, he became a ghoul.
Mm-hmm.
But Maximus was in a fridge that was of similar design,
when
directly next to a nuclear bomb.
Right.
And he was not a ghoul. He did not get even any form of ghoulification. So it's inconsistent. Yeah, and
actually, it's even
brought up Billy the Ghoul.
It's even more inconsistent within the show itself, because if you remember Thaddeus in season 1, I think, what is it? He just gets like nicked or something in the neck, and then immediately just becomes a ghoul.
No, what it is that drug he takes.
Oh, is the drug that he took.
But people are speculating that he's not a ghoul. He's becoming a
something
Superman
else.
Or something.
Oh.
But I don't know what he's probably going to become a ghoul. They're probably not going to be that creative.
Well, I mean, if you notice now, like how he looks, he is pretty much just essentially a ghoul. That's all it is.
But it is frustrating, because they aren't, like I said, they aren't even following their own lore.
One of the only positives, and we'll try and get through this before we wrap it up. One of the only positives, I would say, one of the other positives, the Legion. I would say it's the Legion. The way that they handled the Legion, I don't know about you, but for me at least, they kind of handled the Legion how I expected expected the Legion actually would naturally become, because if you remember Edward Sallow, who's the actual Caesar, the first one that led Caesar's Legion,
or as they say, Kaiser,
or yes, Kaiser, he has the tumor, right? He has a tumor, and he's slowly dying by the time you meet him in the game.
Shell's
If
got a
you
good point about
choose,
that.
doesn't have a mouth growing out of his neck. Yeah, that's actually. Oh, yeah, that's right. He does it. He does. Yeah,
he
no,
does in the trailer. They showed off he had like a mouth like right here and all that. It's so I don't think he's becoming a ghoul.
He might be becoming a mutant then, like a different kind of new mutant. Maybe not a super mutant, but something else. But what is it? The Legion knows that Caesar's running low on time because of the fact that he has the tumor. I think odds are that he does eventually die from the tumor, either because it just grows and kills him, or they manage to fix it, but then it comes back again because tumors can grow back.
Yeah,
Centaur, that's possible actually.
It could be. I mean, there are centaurs in New Vegas.
After Caesar dies, the Legion does kind of slowly fall apart because they have to decide who's going to be the next Kaisar. And there's several people within the faction who have varying opinions and disagreements when it comes to leading the Legion.
Yep.
The only one I could see them uniting them would be Lanius, Legate Lanius. But since he's not in the show so far, there's a good chance that he probably did die at some point. So now the Legion's slowly falling apart.
I really hope they don't. I really hope they don't make Macaulay Culkin's character.
He's Legate. I believe he's Legate Decatus or Decanus is what his name is. That I believe he's a different Legate. But Macaulay Culkin's character, surprisingly, he kind of, to be honest, he kind of fits the bill for the characters of the Legion.
I'm going to be honest. At least he's probably one of the best characters of the show, of the season so far.
Out of him and Walton Goggins the Ghoul, that's two characters that
because at least props to Macaulay Culkin, like you mentioned earlier. He engaged, he interacted with video, he watched videos on lore and all that.
Yes, and he did his research.
He only played Fallout Shelter, but at least he tried to play a game.
No, I'll give him props on that. So he has more or less an understanding on how, and I'm hoping he did plenty of his research on how the Legion works, based off the dialogue that he kind of gave to Lucy when he was talking to her. It kind of does sound like he has more or less an understanding of how the Legion operates. Like he talks about, she talked about how this is America, and he's like, it's like it was America, and now all you see are the remnants of its consequences.
Also, I'm just gonna say this: it kind of irritated me when she was talking back to the Legion, talking back to to Caesar, and I was just like, you are a woman. You would have either been freaking thrown into a tent and a bunch of men would have dealt with you their way, which wouldn't have been pleasant. Would have been very nasty.
I mean, the same woman that was with her before that led her to the Legion, she got her head chopped off clean. Yes. So I mean, I'm surprised it didn't happen to her immediately right there. So I'll give you that. Yes, the Legion would have treated her much more
what I think they should have done. Now, honestly, she did have some consequences to her naivety, but her consequence was just being tied up to a freaking cross, where it's pretty much just like
and just die to exposure.
Yeah, die to the exposure. Yeah, but the problem was they could have stabbed her. They could have not killed her, stabbed her,
flailed her.
Flailed her, beat her. There should have been heavier consequence to her speaking out to these guys who, in the lore, have treated women very, very nastily.
Yes, exactly. So I'll give you credit on that. Yes, they didn't completely follow the Legion to a T, but to a certain extent, there are some things about it that to me, at least, it does feel like this is naturally what the Legion would have done. They would have split apart.
No, I agree. I agree.
Fighting amongst themselves.
I understood that part. I was like, okay, that makes sense and all that.
It's kind of funny. One of the Caesars or Kaisars, shall we say, happens to be a little Chinese man too. I think that's hilarious.
Yeah. I saw that. Honestly, when I saw the guy who looked like the
new Kaisar, the one that they talked to. Yeah,
he looked like the guy like the original Kaisar, and I was like, okay, hello.
He looks the part. He does look good. So I'll give him that.
I was literally like, wait, what? Is he alive? Is he not dead? But then they explained it, and I was like, okay, that makes more sense.
Edward Sallow is actually dead.
Yep.
And he's just on a pile of dirt that's separating the two factions, which is kind of funny.
Yeah. Pile of dirt with a bunch of dead bodies there and all that, and of course, like, you know, I will say this, I don't like that Lucy is so naive in this season after what she's experienced in season 1.
Right. Yes, that's what I was. Yes, I'm glad you mentioned that, because in season 1, she had all those experiences. The naivety started to actually burn away. But then when season 2 comes along, it's like
she's
we
back
go
to
back to status quo and we have the naivety.
Yeah.
It's as you see it as early as, speaking of changes, Novak. When they changed the dinosaur position, Dinky the dinosaur, to look in towards the motel instead of looking out, but they conveniently changed it to look inwards just so that way she has that sniper position to cover the ghoul.
I agree with
Yes,
that.
absolutely. Ulysses himself did say there'd be some infighting that would occur. It's just at the same time, the infighting going on with like the Brotherhood and the NCR, the Legion, I can see more.
It was my complaint too, Jeff.
Yes. Like having the dinosaur turn inward towards the motel was really ridiculous, but it's convenient for the plot because it allows Lucy to perch herself up there to start sniping at enemies to save the ghoul. And before she even does that, she reveals her position and says, you know, I hope we can actually talk about this and, you know, go for plan C where, you know, you just give us back the money and we walk away and no problem. And it's, lady,
what raider is going to do that? First of all, what person is going to do that? What person is going to give all the way their resources? They're in a situation like this where they have a hostage. What person is going to be like, oh, I'm going to give you all my what's the term? Leverage.
Oh, yeah, all my leverage.
Like the in this moment, the cons had the leverage. First of all, the fact that the cons took over Novak. And pretty much killed everyone there. Or if the rest didn't flee or anything.
Where the hell was
irritated
Boone
the hell out of me?
Honestly,
yeah, Boone would have come back, like, and Manny there, like Manny was also a really good freaking NCR sniper.
Yep.
But no, but like it was inconsistent. Now I don't find it the end of the world that they added a pool to the area. I don't see that as the end of the world. Maybe they argue that they covered it up, you know, or that they uncovered it after a while because they maybe found a use for it.
Right.
But the big issue was they say it's canon to the games. Dinky the Dinosaurs did a complete 180, which is a massive
retcon. So that's a massive retcon for that one location. Yes, so you're right. The fact that it is canon to the games now, and you're going to be using this to set up Fallout 5, you've essentially changed a lot of things that have existed before then. That's what you're actually doing, right? But and I can't stand the people who try to defend this, and basically I'll say, why are you complaining so much about this? Why are you, you know, why can't you just enjoy it? I'm not a little piggy that lives in the pen and eats the fucking slop like you want to. I don't want to do something like that. If there's something that I see going off when it comes to this franchise I absolutely love, I'm going to criticize it. I'm going to point it out. And you trying to shame me into not doing any of that ain't gonna stop me.
They just want to stay. That's what they want. They are content with consuming slop. They are content with consuming a product just because it's from their beloved IP.
Exactly.
But that shows they don't have standards. They don't actually love the IP. They just love seeing it.
Loving an IP means that you have to have some standards for it. That's how that works. Which is why so far, what I'm not liking, fuck you, ABF. Which is why so far what we're seeing is not really something season 1, for all its faults, was okay to a certain extent. I didn't like so much the ending of it, but what they were giving us so far seemed like there's potential for it. Season 2, on the other hand, it definitely feels like now they're taking the sledgehammer to everything that's been established and just start batting away at the knees, at the chest, and everything.
Well, speaking of sledgehammer, I was kind of annoyed when what's his name? I'm forgetting his name.
Xander Harkness.
Xander. When Xander was killed, I was like, oh, I'm starting to like his character, honestly. And then they're like, oh, he was going to kill the ghoul kid, the abominations, and all that. And I was like, okay, but like that's not logical for him in that moment, especially when you should immediately realize the other paladin you're with is having hesitation, which means he could be a threat.
Yep. And actually, it's not logical either, because I don't remember the Brotherhood of Steel ever declaring in one of their codices that they have to kill ghouls as well too. I
Well,
don't
in the
ever remember them.
Commonwealth, in the Commonwealth, Brotherhood of Steel, they were just killing everything that wasn't human and labeled it as an abomination.
So basically, they're becoming Enclave 2.0 then.
Pretty
That's
much.
basically what it is. It's fucking wild. The only caveat, of course, is they won't kill humans who've been exposed to radiation after like 200 years.
Yeah.
The Enclave would have done that, however. But putting that aside, I don't know if you thought about this before, but just like a quick thing. That last name, Xander Harkness, do you have any? Is it jogging your memory at all? I know for me it is, but I'm
I
wondering
think I
if you
know.
did.
I know what you're getting at.
Go on.
Uh, I remember the name Harkness. I just can't remember specifically what right now.
Fallout 3, Rivet City, the security guard, main security guard,
The security
Harkness.
guard who was secretly a synth.
Secretly a synth, or
Yes.
in that time it was just androids, he
Yeah.
was
Replicated man.
he was, yes, the replicated man mission, and his true designation was A21, I believe it was. I don't believe it's the same character because I guess the most likely scenario is they're reusing names, but it would be a little interesting if it was going to be him. But
Yeah.
yes,
No. But honestly, like, so overall, I'm not liking what I'm seeing with the Fallout show so far. Season
me
1
neither.
it was all right. Season 2, it just seems like they're kind of taking a freaking super sledge to the freaking IP.
Yep, that's kind of
And
what's happening to it now, and I'm not
but
looking forward to the
overall,
latter 4 episodes.
yeah, I was gonna say, so you're not looking forward to the latter 4. I'm not really looking forward to. I'm gonna continue watching them because of
Yes.
course, we got the next episode after the next 4 are out.
Mm-hmm.
How many seasons do you think there's gonna be?
There'll probably be 3, 4 seasons. I think they're going to go for this because
I
there's,
was thinking that too.
as crap as the story may be, there is still a lot of unanswered questions that I'm hoping they actually do answered. So it's probably going to last a little longer, maybe
Yeah.
two more seasons, if anything, or
Yeah, no,
maybe enough seasons until Fallout 5 comes out, and then that's it. They take a break. That's my
well,
guess.
I mean, there are rumors that we're getting New Vegas and Fallout 3 remastered pretty soon.
That's
Which,
true as well.
they're speculations. I heard
Well,
someone say that we might get Fallout New Vegas remastered
and 3 remastered announced
when
to an
episode 8
episode 8, yes.
drops.
I dropped
I'm
you
like,
that
no,
post a
I don't
while
think
ago,
that.
yeah.
Yeah,
Mhm.
I don't think that's true, but
Yeah.
it is
Well,
an interesting speculation.
it is interesting. But we'll go ahead and wrap it up
Yeah,
here,
we're
just
gonna
that
wrap it
way
up
we don't
here.
hold up any more time. And we do have a nice little gaming stream for the homies is going to be doing another gaming stream, another Among Us stream. So if you guys are interested, check that out in like 15 or so minutes. But AP and I here are going to go ahead and step out.
Where they can find you, Ronan.
Yes. So I have my little let me point this there we go. My link tree down over there in the corner. You guys want to check that out? You click it, and I have a YouTube, Ronin the Crusader, Kick, Ronin the Crusader. I have an X as well, Ronin_Crusader7, where I'm constantly arguing with commies and lefties, like a good true American patriot. And yeah, you can also find me again on my channel later tonight, streaming Among Us with all these nerds here and for the homies. So yeah, come check that out.
It's gonna
What
be
about
fun.
you,
Yeah.
AP? Where can they find you?
Yeah. Similarly, I'm gonna be streaming along with them on Among Us, which it's gonna be some fun because we like to sow chaos when we're playing Among Us.
Oh
And you
yes,
can join us. You can join Ronin stream, the homie stream, and my stream, and whoever else is going to be streaming there.
absolutely.
But yeah, you can find me on YouTube as Atomic Patriot, on X as Atomic Patriot, on Kick as the Atomic Patriot, and and on Criticalist. So I'm pretty much the same name over all places. And join us in the Discord, the For the Homies Discord, where we do watch parties every Friday. And we're doing watch parties every Wednesday too of the anime shows, right?
Yep, absolutely. Right. That's now that you reminded me. We'll also be on the channel again tomorrow for matinee for the homies.
True.
Mm-hmm.
We will both be appearing on the freaking matinee show again because that's a fun part.
Yes.
But yeah, if you guys like the stream, well, obviously, as Big Dog Jake says, like the stream, nerds.
Like the stream, nerds.
Yep, and as always, it's glad you guys sat here for a while. We had a pretty decent concurrent viewers. So
absolutely.
again, you guys,
just to quote Crease, you could have been anywhere else, but you chose to be here, and for that, we thank you for it.
Yep, and we do thank you because this is kind of a fun kind of idea. But yeah, honestly, it's if you guys want to, the stream is going live in about
15 20 minutes around there.
15 to 30 minutes about.
Okay.
So if you guys want to check that out, we will be switching over to the gaming stream, and as always, we will be seeing you guys in the next one. Peace out.
Peace out, everyone.